Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now this is going to be an album review today. I'm going to be looking at this album from The Jam. It is The Gift. So in this video I will give a bit of background information about the album. I'll also show you my vinyl copy of it, and then also go over all of the album's tracks and score each song, what will give us a final total for the album like at the end of the video. So this was The Jam's final studio album, released on the 12th of March in 1982. For this album, Paul Weller took quite a different approach to like what he had done with like the previous Jam albums. They're like experimenting like a lot more with like brass arrangements, demonstrating his love of soul music. However, the album was poorly received by critics at the time, but like, it did do well commercially. Though this was their commercial peak, reached #1 in like the UK charts. Like after touring the album throughout 1982, they decided to break up towards the end of that year. They did have like a couple of like other singles what came out after the album. Those were Bitterest Pill I Ever Had to Swallow and Beat Surrender. What like weren't on the album, but like they might have dated from like the same sessions, I'm not too sure, but like, they did come out after the album, and like both were big hits in like the UK. So I'm now just going to show you the vinyl here. I do like the album cover a lot. It's a pretty cool cover. I do like it. There's a back cover, just a black and white picture of them performing. You can see this was what like they looked like in like 1982. So you had like two brass players had like joined the band. Basically. Anyway, here is the inner sleeve. Here, just pictures of all the band there with brass players. Lyrics on the other side, and then the label is really cool, probably one of the best bits about the album, to be honest. They're just sort of, yeah, nice custom label, I like it a lot. As now I'm going to go over all of the album's tracks. We open up with the song Happy Together, which I would give a 7 out of 10 to. It is a decent track. It's not a personal standout like on the album for me. It starts off quite strange with this sort of like this loud scream, and then it sort of goes into like this catchy bass riff, what I do quite like. The song itself is like a good rocking track, but it's certainly like not one of their best. The second song up is called Ghosts, and this is absolutely amazing. It is a 10 out of 10 for me. I just love it. It's such a simple song, and like there's not like a chorus to it like or anything, but it's just such a catchy little tune, and like the bare production as well is like really nice and like effective as well, and this is probably Paul Weller's best melody, I have to say. And like the lyrics are fantastic, they're great and uplifted, and like the brass, it is on this song here, but it's very subtle and like in like the background where I feel it should be. So this song here is just absolutely brilliant. Like I believe he started performing this live again, which is like absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Ghost, a real gem. Third track is Precious, and this would be an 8 out of 10 for me. Very different to a Jam sort of usual stuff, almost sort of dance orientated track. But like I do like it because it is like unique for like the Jam, but it is highly listenable, and like I do really like it. Does get like my toe tapping a bit. This was a #1 hit. It was a double A side with Town Called Malice. Certainly that song got a lot more airplay, but this one here, no denying, like was still a great song. The reason why it's not a bit higher is because it kind of meanders on a bit, and like towards the end of the song there's sort of like a trumpet solo what's going on, the sort of like freestyling, and like that's not really like my sort of thing. So like right, yeah, but like I think like 8 out of 10, like the actual core of the song, like the actual first like 2 to 3 minutes are like really good. Fourth track in is called Just Two, is the 5 O'Clock Hero, and this is a really great song. He sort of lyrics in here like a concern like a working man's life, sort of like returning home from work, and like I think like the first line is like, "Hello darling, I'm home again, covered in shit and aches and pains." It's like a nice sort of honest lyric, and like I like it a lot, sort of celebrating like the unsung heroes of like the UK who like keep like the country running. this really reminds me like a lot of like Ray Davies's sort of style of writing, like with like the Kinks. Song really reminded me like a lot of like their song Dead End Street. Like also like the brass as well, like in it as well, like reminded me like of like that song. Like, although this song wasn't released as a single in the UK, it was released as a single in the Netherlands, and this import reached number 8 on like the UK charts, what I believe is like a record for like an imported single what wasn't even supposed to be like released in like the UK. Still managed to reach the top 10, what I think is absolutely fantastic. And then side one closes with a bit of a clunker, really. It's a song called Trans Global Express. If you can call it a song, it's mostly unlistenable garbage, really. The vocal is so buried in the mix. It's just like a huge sort of wall of sound of brass and stuff going on. There's no real tune to it at all, no melody, and like the lyrics sort of just come off as like a really big rant. I mean, like we all know, like Paul Weller was like really against like Margaret Thatcher's government like around this time here, but this song just comes across as really preachy and like whereas I mean, like I think that Paul Weller, like he could write like a good song about that. I mean, stuff like Walls Come Tumbling Down and Going Underground and like other stuff on like this album here, Time Called Malice, just to is a 5 o'clock hero, a great song sort of about like his like political views, but this song here, it just comes across as really preachy and like and sort of similar to like where like I maybe criticised like John Lennon like in like the past with his albums like Sometime in New York City 10 years earlier than this. It just doesn't like appeal to me, really. Second side though opens up well with a song called Running on the Spot, where I would give a 8 out of 10 to. I think it is like an underrated track. I mean, like it isn't on like the best of CD. It like deserves to be like on there. I just like this song. It's got like a good guitar introduction. Like it's like a solid track, I have to say. Second track up is called Circus, and this would be a 5 out of 10. It's a mildly enjoyable instrumental credited to Bruce Foxton, the bassist, but it isn't great. Sort of like the definition like of filler material for me, so it'd be a 5 out of 10. I mean, like it's not bad, but it's hardly. I mean, like I'm just trying to like remember it now. Like I can't really like remember what goes out. But when I was doing my notes as I was listening to the album, I can remember sort of enjoying it a bit. Third track into side 2 is called The Planner's Dream Gone Wrong, and yeah, 6 out of 10 for this here. Again, it's not fantastic. Interesting thing I would say about this though is like it does have like, quite like interesting instruments used on it. Like you sort of got like this like brass like introduction on it, and then like these sort of like steel calypso drums. Very different, very wacky for like the jam, but the actual song itself like isn't very good. It's just not a catchy song. Like it doesn't. I mean, like again, like I'm trying to like remember like what it goes like, but like I'm finding like that's a struggle. I just feel like the style like of the song, it doesn't fit like the lyrics on it at all. I mean, like the lyrics about tower blocks and like that, and like these calypso steel drums, it just don't go together. It's just like a real clash of like these two styles, and like it just doesn't gel together. Where like it's like experimental, and like I do like have to give like Paul Weller and like the jam kudos for like trying out something different to what like they would like normally do. But like on like certain songs, it just doesn't work. Next track though does work. It is a song called Carnation, and it is a great song. Certainly one of like the best like on this album here. Like has like a nice melody to it, and like there's not too much brass creeping into this one. I feel that this song here could like really fit on like the sound effects album. Like it's certainly probably like of all like the songs on here, the most similar to like their earlier stuff. Like I really like it a lot, so 9 out of 10 for Carnation. Now we get on to Town Called Malice, which is an easy 10 out of 10. Just the perfect pop song, I have to be honest with you. Fantastic lyrics, again, sort of about like the state of like the UK like around this time here, but like it's sort of the way it's set to like that very commercial Motown beat gives like a sense of hope and like optimism despite what was going on like at the time. And like I just love it. It is their most popular song. It is a it was a huge #1 hit, and like it's just a fantastic song. It's great. And then, unfortunately, the album does close with another clunker. It's called The Gift, and I'd have to give this a 5 out of 10. It just does nothing to me, really. Very unmemorable. I'm just trying to, again, regurgitate it now, but it's just not coming through. But I remember, like, when I done my notes, I didn't like it very much. And like I've listened to this album like quite a few times, so like but I don't think that I've just like played it once and took these notes. I mean, like I've listened to it like a good like 5 or 6 times, and like a lot of these songs are about half like the material like on it. They're just not going into like my head, and like they're not staying with me. Like they're just sort of going in like one ear and like out the other. Right, so overall then, if we add up all like the totals for each of the songs, we get a score of 73%, which might sound quite good, but like if you think of that, I mean like that's about like just less than 3/4 of this I actually like, and there's a quarter of it what I think isn't very good if like you look at it like that way. Certainly one of the most disjointed and inconsistent albums well, I probably like the most, like in like the sense it has some of like the greatest work on it, stuff like Ghosts and Dust 2 is the 5 O'Clock Hero, Carnation and Town Called Malice, all absolute jam classics. But then there is some absolute junk on here, like some stuff where it is what I would consider among their worst stuff, and like among like the worst stuff what Paul Weller's done, stuff like Trans Global Express and like The Gift and Planets Gene Gone Wrong. They're just not very good. Some people have said the reason why this album isn't very good is because of the supposed limited ability of Bruce Foxton and Rick Butler to play in like these slightly more complex soul influenced songs. However, I call complete rubbish on that, because for me Bruce Foxton and Rick Butler are one of the greatest rhythm sections in rock ever. And like I think that the reason why this album suffers is because of like the rather poor material what like Paul Weller was writing like around this time. Like of course it doesn't apply to all the songs, because as I said it has some classics on it, but he doesn't seem really like inspired very much. And like I don't think it's much of a surprise that like he was frustrated like with like the Jam. Like I don't think that he was happy with this album, to be honest. That's why like he split up the band like later like into 1982, and like in 1983 from the Style Council, and like their early songs are really, really good actually. Stuff like Speak Like a Child and Long Hot Summer, those are better than I'd say most of the stuff like on this album, like maybe like bar like 2 songs. These songs here, a lot of them just seem lazy, and like there's no melody to them, no hooks. I have to like appreciate like them experimenting and like trying out new stuff, but sometimes it doesn't work. So overall, I hope you have enjoyed this review here. If there are any albums you'd like to see me go over in the future, please leave your suggestions below. Also what you think of like this album as well, because I'd be interested to know here, because it maybe like divides fans and like that. So like I'd be interested to hear like what people think of this. But I'll see you next time. Goodbye.